All right. Uja, I've forgotten my glasses. Good rising, great awakenings. The sun is really coming through. Do a ra. It was so cold this morning. Oh my gosh. I am not ready for winter to be here yet. I need a little bit more time. All right. Thank you for waiting. Oh my goodness, this shadow is intense. Wonder if we could turn it this way. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. Okay. All right, welcome to Good Rising TV. My name is Tachia Ahmet, aka Arit Netter S. Meri Maati. And welcome to today's presentation of Natarian Thursdays. What, you may ask, is Natarian Thursday? Well, I've just recently started going live again, and I've decided to organize it in such a way so that when I am making musical offerings or sound healing sessions, I can just focus on the music, and I don't have to get into the teachings or start talking about my life story or anything like that. So this way I can just run my mouth on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then when I'm in the temple space, I can just focus on the devotion. So on Tuesdays, we have Tamarican Tuesdays, where we talk about nation building, about coming into the culture and awareness of Tamari, which is the Medu Neter term for this continent. This continent is also known to the original people as Chi Amaru or Amaruka. And the northern part of the continent is known as Turtle Island. So we'll be talking about the original people of Tamarica, which is the copper-colored people, and what I feel it will take for us to come together as a nation. Then on Wednesdays, we have Wellness Wednesdays, where we talk about different topics of wellness, including, we start with astrology reading for the day. Then we talk about frequencies, we talk about sound healing for pendulum readings. We talk about just wellness in general, the herbs, the salve, some of the wellness products that I make. And what else we talk about? Oh, and tools, our favorite tools. So on Wellness Wednesday, we talk about wellness. And then on Natarian Thursdays, we talk about devotion and spirituality, which is normally referred to as Kemetic spirituality. However, here at Asmatashi Temple, we know that this culture existed all over the world in different times and different places with different people bringing the wisdom teachings through. And my passion or my mission is to investigate that, in particular the connection between Kemet in Africa and this continent. Because my research shows me that that wisdom started here and traveled there, or maybe it just went back and forth for so long, we don't know. But I feel we need to stop bickering about that. But in particular, about how the original people here, most people are familiar with the Mayans, but their predecessors were the Olmecs. The first people on this continent were melanated, copper-colored, American, Indian red people that practiced spirituality much the same way that's practiced in Kemet and other places on the continent of Africa. So on Natarian Thursdays, we're not just talking about spirituality in Africa or Kemet. We'll be discussing spirituality here in Tamarica, the original spirituality to the east. And we may, if I ever get that information, we may delve into the Natarian culture to the north, which is considered Europe. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the medicine wheel denotes how today we have cultures of the people, indigenous people to the north, south, east, and west. There was cultures, civilizations, and societies all over the world before the colonizers arrived. So that's my platform, as you want to say. And so today we will learn about different netters. We'll learn about the calendars that I use. We'll discuss the teachings from my spiritual preceptors, Dr. Mwada Ashby, Sebai Ma, and Dr. Karen Ashby, Sebaja, from the EgyptianYoga.com website. And we talk about the yoga practice. Yoga, people attribute yoga to the East, from the people of the East. However, there's much evidence that proves that it also started with the Natarian tradition, particular in Kemet. There's writings on the walls and the pyramids that have the postures laid out, and there's meditations inscribed for us. So eventually I will be teaching this yoga practice. My version of it is called Akusa Neb, which translates into light being wellness, which is the name of my brand. Is that what it is? My brand. And sometimes I'll have music offerings, although those are going to be reserved for the actual offerings, temple offerings. And we may have meditation. You just never know. I don't have a plan. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. That's one reason I stopped going live before, is because everything was so planned and structured, and it was kind of stressful getting everything ready. So that is pretty much the schedule. I want to welcome those of you who are tuning in. I see Gloria Locke is tapping her screen, and I appreciate that. I want to invite all of you to tap the screen. I'm not used to asking people to tap the screen. It feels kind of ridiculous to be saying that. However, it really does help. Whenever you're on someone's live stream, you can just tap, 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 tap. You can take a break and then tap, tap, tap. Where's my finger? Tap, 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 tap. And then also, I've been studying with Mama T, and she says that this little heart at the top of your screen, and when you're watching someone's live, if you can tap that, that really helps the content creator. So here is my plug for you, if you can, to push that little heart. What is that? It gives your content creator a penny, believe it or not. Other times you get a diamond, which translates into actual revenue. But when you tap that little button, the creator gets a penny. Also, I'd like to draw your attention to this little part of the screen there. They have a special campaign going on for the Dia de los Muertos, which they call Halloween, but it's actually the time where you honor the ancestors. It's the time when the veil between the two realms, the living and the dead, is open. And so the next Spiral Dance Medicine Wheel will be on November 1st. But anyway, when you tap on this little heart there, they get a penny. And I will be setting up the subscription service very soon, which will be the spiritual offerings that I mentioned, the Cosmic Chimes and Chanting, which is the astrological sound healing, group sound healing presentation. Then we have the Spiral Dance Medicine Wheel, which is for the 8 natural holy days of the year, the equinoxes, the solstices, and the mid-seasons. And then the Cosmic Adorations is a devotional music offering, which takes place during the sacred hoop. So now that I've bored everyone to tears, let's get on with our presentation. All right, so what do I mean by Netaru? When I say the Netaru, and I have this cute little thing here so I can write words. And I figured out how to keep the screen from going backwards, so I'm really proud of myself. And this is my grassroots chalkboard, dry board, whatever. Okay, and there is a young woman that's doing hieroglyph classes. I have to get her name. Kimmy's Got Beats, something like that. I'm gonna have it clearly marked next time. This is not a hieroglyphs class, but we will learn some of the terms and we will learn about the Neteru, the gods and goddesses. Okay. Because I believe that all these spiritual traditions around the world, in one way or another, are following the Neteru, the gods and goddesses. They just have different ways of expressing it. And my purpose or my mission is to point out the similarities so that we can come together and defeat Western imperialism. Okay, so the Neteru, you might see Neter. And I know the hieroglyph for that is 3 flags. But that's really what I know, 3 flags. Neter, which means divine or divinity. For example, the Medu Neter means divine words or sacred words. And then when you see Neteru, or even Neter S, you're talking about the gods and goddesses, okay? Now, the gods and goddesses, some people are like, oh, that's voodoo, you're worshiping gods and goddesses, yada, yada. And that's not, you're not really just worshiping gods or goddesses. You are coming into oneness with the cosmic forces of nature. The cosmic forces of nature are different aspects of creation. For example, you have a cosmic force of beauty, which is the goddess Heteru, or the cosmic force of truth, which is Ma'at. Thank you for tapping your screen, Gloria. I really appreciate you being here today. And I have to get better at inviting people when they come on, but I'm a little late for that. So I'm just gonna keep going. Good rising, great awakenings. Today we're talking about the cosmic forces of nature known as the gods and goddesses of ancient Kemet. So I have the words here, Neter and Neter-S, Neteru. The Neteru are the cosmic forces of nature. And I was going down the list. So we have the cosmic force of truth, which is Ma'at, the cosmic force of divine intuition, Aset, the cosmic force of egoism, which is Set, the cosmic force of discernment between what's real and unreal is Anpu. So those are just some of the cosmic forces of nature that are used in the process of creation. When Nebuchadnezzar, the original supreme being, began the process of creation, the first thing he did was to create Khepri. Khepri is the god of creation. He's the creator of creation. And Ra is the god of creation. And Timu Ra, or Ra-Tim, is the god of the end of creation. So they represent cosmic forces. You can think of them as building blocks to build, to create. And we are told that we're supposed to become gods and goddesses, and that means that we have learned how to create as well. We've learned how to create using the tools of creation, using the cosmic forces of creation. That is what we are here to do. We're here to become become like the gods and goddesses. And one way to become like the gods and goddesses is to learn how to create like the gods and goddesses do. So they create by using their minds and their thoughts and their words. You know, that's how we can create by meditation. And we can learn how to create by focusing on the cosmic forces of nature, learning how to work with the cosmic forces of nature to create. Good rising. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're just here today on Netarian Thursday learning about the gods and goddesses known as the Neteru. And I see now that I'm going to have to change the name because people don't know what Netarian is. So that's a lesson for me. So the Neteru are the cosmic forces of creation. They're the cosmic forces that we can learn how to utilize to create in our lives. All right, so how can you learn about the Neteru? Well, I believe that first it's important to have a really good teacher. Someone who has already been down this road and can guide you. You can buy books by wonderful teachers all over the world. However, it's very important to have, oh, thank you so much for following me, Victoria. Victoria reminds me of one of the Neteru, Heru, is known as spiritual victory. But I don't want to jump all over the board here. So let me get back to getting a teacher. Yes, one thing to buy a book and to watch someone's videos and even to come on to a live stream and interact with the teacher. However, it's very crucial to have an actual human teacher that you can talk to and you can be in their presence physically sometimes. Maybe not every time you have a lesson, but at least sometimes. Do you? Oh, well, I received that today as well. It's much needed. Oh, well, thank you so much. Do a tap. Thank you. Yeah, it's very important to find a teacher that's on the same frequency as you. Someone that understands what you're going through in life. Good rising, great awakenings. Yes, we're here just to learn about Natarian spirituality, what is also known as Kemetic spirituality. Right now, we're just talking about finding the right teacher. So in the tradition that I came through, I studied with Dr. Mwada Ashby, Say by Ma, and Dr. Karen Ashby, Say by Cha. It's funny how I found them. I was on a dating app, not a dating app. It was a social media platform that had a special section for if you wanted to meet people to date. And I was recently divorced, so I said, well, let me just try it. And I met this very handsome, interesting young man, and he was totally into Say by Ma and Say by Ja. I had never really heard of them. Well, I'd heard of them because one of my friends had lent me her book. This is the first book in their series, Egyptian Yoga, Volume 1, with Say by Ma, Dr. Mwada Ashby. So she lent me her book. And it took me a whole year to read chapter 1. I'm not kidding you. The first chapter blew my mind. I had studied Egyptian culture and history by Egyptologists. And I had studied with Dr. Ben. And he talked about Kemet. You know, and I'd seen some videos by, what's that guy's name? I forgot his name. That's how bad it is. That's another story. But I hadn't really met anyone in person. So this person and I had decided we were going to go to the yoga class. Good rising, Lacey Spiritual Wellness. Thank you so much for liking my live. Thank you for reminding me. Anyone who's in the room, if you're enjoying this, just tap the screen. It really helps your content creator. It's really hard for me to stop my train of thought and ask you to tap the screen. But that's what Mama T says I need to do. And then also your favorite content creator, if you can tap this little heart, that really helps them a lot. But anyway, back to my story about this. So we had decided we were going to meet at the next retreat they had in Atlanta. And I had been practicing yoga, you know, the yoga postures. And I had been trying to meditate for a long time. I guess this was 2000. I guess my friend lent me her book in 2007, and then 2008 or 9, I started reading the book. 2010. Anyway, I went to the first conference. So we decided we were going to meet at the conference. I was all excited, and we get there, and we only do yoga postures 1 hour of each day, and the rest of the day we're just sitting there listening to him talk, and he's giving these lectures and presentations and everything. And I was like, what is this? I came for a yoga retreat. And all we're doing is sitting here talking. My legs are hurting. I was like really frustrated. I did not get it at all. And they said, one of the things they said, well, you know, with this yoga practice, the postures, you're studying the movements of the gods and goddesses. It's not just do the sun salutation, do the downward dog, do the bow, do the tree. It's not that. Each posture represents a god or goddess and how they move. And the whole process of this is to learn how to move like the gods and goddesses learn how to create the way they create. And they said that when you're reading the myths and the stories and the legends and you're studying and you're meditating and you're singing and you're dancing, you're studying the story, like for example, the story of Asar and Aset. And you're not only studying the story of their life, it's the story of your life too. It's the story of our life, because our bodies are made out of these cosmic forces. Our spirituality, our soul, everything in life is made from these cosmic forces. I believe that they start off with the ideal solids, which are known as the platonic solids, and then over time those became these cosmic forces, and then over time they became actual physical entities. Oh, wonderful, Lacey. Comedic yoga, which school did you study with? Did you study with yoga skills with Yasir Rahatep, or did you study with Dr. Ashby, Egyptian yoga? Oh, she's from Johannesburg. Oh my goodness. Wonderful. I'm trying to think which one of them went to Johannesburg. I guess that was Yasir. I think he went to Johannesburg. Okay, Yasir, yeah. I went to Kemet with Yasir my first time. And then I went with Dr. Ashby 2 times. One time, and I've gone on my own 2 times. And I've been studying the teachings with Dr. Ashby for 12 years. 12 years. It's not just the postures. That's the big distinction between the 2 schools, is Yasir studied the postures, and Dr. Ashby is a spiritual preceptor. He teaches in a way that will lead you to enlightenment. That's what I was talking about. With the Neteru, you learn of the cosmic forces of nature, then you learn how to create, and then you learn how to live your life in such a way where you do not create any negative REU. REU, what is REU? Okay, REU. REU is what the concept of karma, where karma comes from. Let's see, where can I sit so you can still see? I think I want to get on this side. I'm sitting backwards. I mean, the screen is backwards. I'm sitting on this side. So I'm learning how to do this. No, okay. Okay, I'll just sit like this. REU. It's where the concept of karma comes from. With karma, it just says everything that you do comes back. You know, like even in your past lives, if you were mean to people in your past lives, and in this life, people will be mean to you. And that's pretty much what karma is. But REU is a lot deeper than that. REU says that everything that you think, everything that you say, everything that you feel, everything that you believe, past life, present life, 2 weeks ago, an hour ago, a minute ago, comes back. It's not just your actions, it's everything. And it's not even just you, it's your ancestors too. It's not just your past lives, it's your ancestors. It all is in you. These are cosmic forces. That's what makes up your existence. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay, so I was talking about the differences between the 2 schools. So with Dr. Ashby and Seba Jah, Seba Ma, the goal is to live your life in such a way that you do not have to return. You do not have to reincarnate, because the earth is a school. It's a school for you to learn lessons in life, and it's a way for you to clean your REU. The purpose of life is not to make $1 million. It's not even to feed 1 million people. It's not to own property. It's not to become a teacher. It's not to be a mother. Those are things that you do in life. Those are things that you can do with your life. But according to Netarian wisdom of the ancient masters of not only ancient Kemet, but the ancient masters of the universe, of life on earth anyway. Because this is a school. The purpose in life is to become enlightened while you're alive so that you can live out your days and not accrue any more negative REU. You don't want to do anything that's out of alignment with Ma'at. Okay, Ma'at. Okay, Ma'at is the goddess, the cosmic force of divine order. Balance, truth, order, harmony, justice, reciprocity, and righteousness, or propriety. When I was teaching my daughters, homeschooling them, we learned a little, I had lots of songs to help learn these different principles and values. And so for Ma'at, it was Batojerp. I'm gonna write it out. Balance, truth, order, harmony, justice, reciprocity, and propriety. Because we learn propriety, but it could be righteousness, Batojer. You could also say Batojer. And that's how we learned the principles. But anyway, so I'm sure that you've seen, I don't have my artwork together today, but I'm sure you've seen, can you see that? Batojer, the balance, truth, order, harmony, justice, righteousness, and propriety. The principles of Ma'at. I'm sure you've seen the artwork where Anpu is there. That's the god that has the mask of the dog. Anpu, which represents the dog, great dog constellation. And then there's a aspirant, usually symbolized by Ani, like after your body dies, this is what happens to you. They walk you to the judgment hall, and your heart is I don't have my little thing, represented by a vase. That's a symbol for heart. Ab is heart. Symbolized by a vase, something like this. It's got little handles on it. Can you see that? Yeah, Ab is the heart. So your heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at. So the feather represents balance, truth, order, harmony, justice, reciprocity, and righteousness or propriety. And so if you've lived your life in such a way that you didn't accrue any more negative REU, and you did works that would, clean up your negative REU that you came to this lifetime with, then your heart will be as light as a feather. But if you come to thank you for being here. Drama, oh my gosh, my daughter is here. Oh. Yubia, my daughter, was raised with all of this wisdom, that was as much as I had at that time. So she's a very remarkable young woman. That's all I can say. Yes, I'm a mama. Well, I'm a drama mama. But anyway, if you've lived your life in such a way that your heart is light as a feather or lighter, then you move on to eternity. You don't have to come back to earth. You don't have to come back. You don't have to reincarnate. You don't have to go through all of this again. And this time, listen to your guidance, listen to your intuition, and get the lesson. You can get the lesson in this lifetime, and you don't have to come back. You can move on. So that's the goal of life, is to live your life in such a way that you don't have to reincarnate. In other traditions, they just assume you just got to keep reincarnating, keep coming back, keep doing the same thing. That's how they changed time. They fixed time so that it just repeats. But time moves forward every day and moves in a spiral. So you want to live your life in such a way that you don't have to come back. You just help people, be a good person. There's lots of principles to this enlightened lifestyle. So let me see, where should I go from here? So how do you live your life in such a way that you don't have to reincarnate? Well, the most important thing is to live by Ma'at. Live with balance, truth, order, harmony, justice, reciprocity, righteousness, and propriety. That is the fundamental way to not have to come back. Back in the days when everybody had this wisdom, they would say that Ma'at is etched in our heart. It's there. But we're not taught to know or understand it. And so it's just dormant. until you run across someone like me that starts talking to you about it, and then you pick up a book, maybe not this book, but you pick up a book on Kemetic spirituality, you start reading it, and then you start to live the teachings. You're living the myth. You become the hero of your own life. In the myth of Heru, Heru is the hero. In the myth of Asar, Asar is the hero. In the myth of Ubia, Ubia is the hero. In the myth of 224 Skiu, or Bigfoot, that's the hero. So you want to live your life in such a way where you are victorious in your life. Heru, as I mentioned before, represents spiritual victory. If you're familiar with the story of the Lion King, then you are a tiny bit familiar with the story of Asar, the Asarian resurrection. Because in that myth, Heru redeems his father. That's the myth of the Lion King. They even have the baboon representing Jehudi. They have the elements there. So you're already familiar with Kemetic spirituality if you've watched that movie. So I'm going all over the place here. So let's just pick one thing. Okay, how to live your life in such a way where you don't have to come back. So you could pick up a spiritual practice, such as a Kemetic practice or Netarian practice, where you learn to connect with the netters and you learn to live your life in such a way that you become a netter. I don't have that book up here. For example, I'm sure you've heard of Aset, who's also known as Isis, the divine mother, the mother of wisdom. She represents your divine intuition. Some people say she's seated in the first eye. Some people say she's seated in our womb. I guess since men don't have a womb, that's kind of hard for them, but it's your intuition. It's that verse, that voice inside of you that's guiding you. Like if you stop, if you don't know what to do, if you stop for a minute, it'll come, it'll tell you. And a lot of times we don't listen. Like sometimes when I'm rushing to do things, I'll get a whoosh. I'll see my keys on the desk and they're not hanging up where they're supposed to be, but I don't catch it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, where are my keys? I'm looking all over the house, And then I was, oh, that's right, they're on my desk. My intuition tried to tell me, but I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so Aset, when you get into her myth, she was just a regular human being, just a woman. She didn't start off as a goddess. She was a woman. And she studied astronomy. She studied astrology. She started gardening. She studied engineering, mathematics, healing. She studied all the sciences that were available to her. And she was saying, there's got to be more to life than this. I've studied everything that I can, and I'm really tired of being around petty people. I'm basically tired of this existence. I don't want to be a human anymore. I want to be like Ra. I want to be like Ra. I want to become a goddess. And so she devised a strategy. I even have a song called Temu Ra, because it's from the teachings of Aset. She wanted to become like Ra. And so we want to become like Ra too. We want to become like all the Neteru. But in this case, Aset wanted to become like Ra. So she set out this plot. And it is really funny. I'm sorry. Every time I read it, it is hilarious. And I have to say about these sessions, these live stream sessions, I'm not going to get into any of the teachings or offering music, or like I used to read the teachings and then write a song based on the teachings. Those offerings will be reserved for the subscriptions, for people who are ready to become members, online members of Asmatashi Temple. But I will talk about them. So she devises this plan to be like Ra. And so what she does is she collects spittle from the sun, the essence of the sun, like you would say dew, maybe. And she collects some earth, some dirt from the ground, and combines it with the spittle and makes a serpent. It's called a Taffy Shepsi. Taffy Shepsi, right? That's the actual word. Taffy Shepsi. I gotta roll up my thing here. I'm kind of old school. I didn't want to buy a dry erase board, so I'm going to figure out a better system. Taffy Shepsey. Like I said, I'm not here to teach hieroglyphics. I don't know them like that. There's a young woman on TikTok that's her specialty. So, I know them like that. There's a young woman on TikTok that's her specialty. So, it's too high. Down here. Taffy Shepsey. When I first heard this word, I thought it was a joke. But it's not. Sacred serpent. Taffy Shepsey. So she left it in his path because, Ra travels every day. He travels across the earth and he's like looking over his creation and everything. He's like, oh, that's a beautiful flower. Oh, that tree needs to be cut, He's just looking at his creation. He's checking in with all the gods and goddesses. He's doing his, can you see it now? I tried to lower it. Taffy Shepsey. Ooh, more, can't see it. Okay, let me write it down lower. Taffy Shepsey. Okay. So she puts the serpent down in his path. Okay, great. She puts the serpent down in his path, and she just, stands by and just, I remember she's having a cup of hibiscus tea, I don't know. So he comes by, he's just walking around, I am Ra, because Ra represents the ego of creation. So he's like totally into himself. And this Taffy Shepsey bites him. He's bitten by this snake, and he's like, what kind of a snake is this? I didn't create this snake, what is this? He's never seen it before because it's made by Aset. It's not of his creation. It's made of him, but he didn't make it. So then he gets sick. He's like, I made a joke. So, he's got COVID. He's got the shivers. He's sweating. His snot's coming out of his mouth. He's like, oh my gosh. And he's laying down next to the tree. I can't believe it. I'm getting ready to die. I'm Ra. I'm the creator. How can I die in my own creation? This is impossible. So then all the gods and goddesses come running in. Ra, what's happening to you? Oh my gosh. When you see the artwork, they're going like this. This means they're crying. Their eyes are leaking. They're like, oh my gosh, what's the matter, Ra? What's going on? So they're trying all these remedies to try to help him, and they can't help him. Ra is dying. It's not funny, but the story is so funny. And how old is this story anyway? Is this like the original comedy? Like when I read these stories, they make me laugh. That's probably why I'm not in that temple anymore, is because I'm just too funny. But I can laugh as much as I want at Asmatashi Temple. Oh, thank you for following me. Al Sir AJ Senior 002. These are my pinhole glasses. They force your eyes to focus instead of magnifying what you look at, which makes your eyes weaker. So that's why I have to look at the screen like this. My computer is being repaired, so I'm on my cell phone. Okay, so he's dying like this, and then Aset just walks by and says, "Oh, Ra, what's the problem? What's the matter with you?" Says, I don't know, that snake bit me and I think I'm about to die. I've got the fevers and the shakes and I'm shivering and I'm sweating and I'm cold and I don't know, and it hurts. I don't know what's wrong. And she's like, oh, that's too bad. I'm so sorry. So sorry to hear that. Says, well, I have the remedy. Says, what? You have the remedy? Yes, I have the remedy. But you have to tell me your name. It's like, oh, no. I'm not going to tell you my name, my spiritual name. None of the gods or goddesses know my name. No one knows my name, because if you knew my name, then you'd have my power and you'd have power over my dominion. I'm not going to tell you my name. Because, in the Natarian tradition, when you know someone's name, you know their essence, because their name represents their essence. In Western tradition, your name may or may not represent your essence. It depends on, your parents or whatever, I don't know. But that's what the name means. So in this tradition, if you know the name of the god or goddess, like just by chanting the names of these cosmic forces, you can activate the forces within you. We're not supposed to just worship them, to follow them. We're supposed to learn how to create with them. We're supposed to be masters of creation as well. So anyway, she's like, I'll give you the antidote, but you have to tell me your name. And then he's like, oh, but why do you need to know my name? The world is so beautiful. You're in paradise. There's food all around. I give you fruit and the water and the mountains and the ocean and the sunrise. You know you love the sunrise. It's so beautiful. I've even given you sex. Like, why do you need to know my name? You just enjoy your life. Just know there's got to be more to life than this. I'm not satisfied being a woman. I want to be like you, Ra. I want to become a creator. I want to become a goddess. And so then he sends everyone away and says, oh, okay, just leave me with Aset. Just leave me now. And he's like, come on, Aset. I can't tell you my name. You just be satisfied with your life. Just, you've got a good job. You've got to, like what if Ra came, what if we do this to me? You got a good job, you got a nice house, you got a good car, you got your vacations, you get to go shopping, you have a credit card, you've got the internet now, you've got to stream all your shows on TV. You don't need to be a god or goddess. You can go to the church, you can go to the mosque, you can go to the mall, you can go on a cruise. It's not so bad, come on. And she's like, nope. If you want the antidote, you gotta tell me your name. So he's like, really fading. I said, please give me the antidote. And she's like, nope, I wanna be a goddess. So he's like, okay, all right, I'm gonna tell you my name and you're gonna give me the antidote, right? She's like, yep. So she becomes one with Ra, which we can do. Every day we can become one with Ra. We can become one with all the Neteru whenever we choose. He tells her his name. She goes deep into his essence and she becomes the goddess. She became enlightened. She rose above the materialist existence. And she left instructions for not just Haru, but for all of us. And that is why it's important to have a spiritual preceptor like Sebai Ma, who can teach you how to activate this within yourself. It's one thing to do the postures and to meditate and to do breathing exercises, and it's another thing to attain enlightenment. One of the things that I learned from studying with Dr. Ashby is the postures are great, the breathing exercises are great, but they're only preparation for meditation. So there's 4 aspects of the Shatao Neter practice. Here's the manual from Dr. Ashby, the Shatao Neter Temple of Aset. And I'm putting together the manual for Asmataji Temple as well. We have less strict standards. So like in the Eastern yoga, there's 8 branches of yoga, and I don't remember all the names, but there's the postures, there's the studies, there's the devotion, there's meditation, there's charitable acts, dharma, karma. I know there's 8, I don't remember them. And this tradition is basically 4, and the postures are not even included. The postures are preparation for the other stages, unless you take the level 2 training, which is what I'm going to be teaching. And when you do the postures, it's your spiritual practice because you're going through the process of creation by moving through the Neteru, okay? But as I was saying, the postures are not part of the practice. The practice is um, meditation, which is ua or ua. Devotion, which is uashu. Right action, ma'at ari. Oh my gosh, I forgot the fourth one. Hold on a second. I can't believe I know the song. Oh, study. Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, study. Recap. Okay, how about that? We're going to have a little song right now. These are the 4 great truths of Chaitau Netter. Let's see. Let's see what I want to say about these. Well, I'm just going to sing the chant because I forgot them, and then I'll read the translation. Panater, we never share him, neteru. On my aunts, we sell you say, come in. Say, washu, say, nafu, say, you say. Harisheri, rekabim, makemu. Panater, we never share him, neteru. On my aunts, we sound you said, say, come in. Say, wash, you say, not boo, inside you say. Arisheri, rekabim, makem. That's it. So usually we recite that song 4 times. This is my version of the song. They have another version, the tempo. Okay, so this will break it down. I can't believe I got mixed up. Okay, Panater, ua nebejer, em neteru. The Netter, the Supreme Being, is one and alone, and is nebejer, manifesting everywhere and in all things in the form of gods and goddesses. So let me write that word down, nebejer. I love this sound, the DJ. Oh my gosh, DJ. I'm gonna have to use that somewhere. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar, the all-encompassing, all-embracing spirit. Okay, so let me read the gloss. So as you can tell, these presentations don't have like an actual structure. I'm just talking about what pops up into my head. And then when I do the spiritual offerings, we just focus on the offerings. And I think this is gonna go much better. Okay. Nebuchadnezzar means all-encompassing divinity, the all-inclusive, all-embracing spirit which pervades all, and who is the ultimate essence of all. This first truth unifies all the expressions of Kemetan religion. Number 2, An Ma'at Svi Sayuset Se Kemen, lack of righteousness, brings fetters to the personality, and these fetters lead to ignorance of the divine. Let's see. Let's put that word up. Fetters. I remember when I first started studying Kemetic, I was like, that word fetters seems so familiar to me, but I could never remember where I had heard it before. It must be something like deep in my soul, because that word, fetters of set. Okay, here we go. When a human being acts in ways that contradict the natural order of nature, negative qualities of the mind will develop within that person's personality. These are the afflictions of Set. Set is the Neteru of egoism and selfishness. Here we go. The afflictions of Set include anger, hatred, greed, lust, jealousy, envy, gluttony, dishonesty, hypocrisy. It also includes being shy, being timid, being afraid, lack of self-confidence, self-hatred. You know, it's not just how we treat others, it's how we treat ourselves. Doubt. That's a fetter of Set. Anytime you say, oh, I can't do it, that's a fetter of Set. Remember when I was talking about Arayu, like every thought, every word, not just your actions, it comes back to you. So you have to be very careful when you choose your words, because you could be like digging your own grave, literally. Those were some of the afflictions of Set. So to be free from the fetters of Set, one must be free from the afflictions of Set. So when your body dies, you want to be fetter free. You want to live your life in such a way that you don't have to come back again. You should even prepare for your death, because that's when you actually begin your eternal life. And how do you, well, let me finish this. Hopefully I'll remember to come back to that. So we've got Ua, which is meditation on the Nebuchadnezzar or the Neteru. We have living with righteousness, Ma'at. And then the third one, Uja Uba Nefer. Say Washu, say Nafu, and Sayu Set, devotion. Devotion to the divine leads to freedom from the fetters of Set. I'm inviting people in. Oh, no. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, gosh. Okay. Devotion to the divine leads to freedom from the fetters of Set. To be liberated, Nafu, which means freedom to breathe. So the term for freedom is the same one as to breathe, because everything we need is included in the breath. Now I know the hieroglyph for not food, to breathe. It's a sail. I don't know if I can draw it exactly the way it was supposed to be, but it's like a sail on a boat, something like that. But it means the breath, because you need the wind for the sailboat, I guess. Okay, to be liberated, that's the purpose of life, is to liberate yourself, not to go to someone else and have them like do things to you so that you're liberated, but so that you liberate yourself, self-liberation. To be liberated, not food, freedom to breathe from the afflictions of Set, one must be devoted to the divine. Being devoted to the divine means living by Ma'at. Ma'at is a way of life that is purifying to the heart and beneficial for society, as it promotes virtue and order. Living by Ma'at means practicing the Shedi spiritual practices and disciplines. And I'm reading from the Temple of Shatao Neter man. You can put a picture on the back. And anyone who's in this call right now, it really helps the content creators to tap the screen, especially since I accidentally accepted a match with someone.
Russia.
And also the heart up at the top there. That's also
Russia.
help the creator.
I'm Russia.
So Uwashu is
Да,
devotion.
Russia.
I don't even know how to end the match. I didn't really mean to join.
Я не понимаю тебя.
I don't even know. Okay, so Uwashu means devotion.
English. Yes, no, все.
And the classic pose of adoring the divine is called Dua. That's when you go like this. Standing or sitting with upraised hands facing outwards towards the image of the divinity. And then, number 4, Arishedi Rek Aben Makaru. To protect the community's experience. Oh my goodness.
Russia.
I get silenced? How do I, oh my gosh. I don't know
Спасибо.
how to end that. I don't know. Does anybody know? Well, can you still hear me? Lacey Spiritual Wellness, Rodney Rum, can you still hear me? It says that my comments were filtered to protect the community's experience. Okay. All right, I'll just keep going. Okay. Doing Shedi, the practice of Shedi disciplines leads to knowing oneself as a divine. This is called being true of speech. Ari Shedi Rek Aben Makaru. Doing Shedi means to study profoundly, to penetrate the mysteries, Shataut. That's what Shatau Neter means, is hidden divinity. Oh, thank you. Let's see. And And thank you for tapping the screen. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. This is a Unitarian. I'll just call it Divine Thursdays, and then you know what it is. So Shatao Netra means hidden divinity. So we each have hidden divinity. Yay, he won. Wow, he got 1,000. No, I don't know. Anyway,
Goodbye.
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 Thank you. Dua.
Thank you, Russia.
Okay, so Shatao Netra,
Russia.
hidden divinity.
Africa.
And we have divinity that's hidden within us. The Western imperialism keeps us our own divinity.
Russia.
Let us know our true self.
Russia, пока. Russia.
Okay, thank you. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
пока.
So our hidden divinity. Oh, I won. Oh gosh. Okay. Invite. Join as a guest. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. All right. So, okay, let me finish reading this. I'm sorry. Doing Sheti means to study profoundly, to penetrate the mysteries, Shatout, and discover the nature of the divine. There have been several practices designed by the sages of ancient Kemet to facilitate this process of self-knowledge. These are they say religious, but I say spiritual or Shatout traditions, and the Sima or the Smai Tawi yogic disciplines related to them that augment the spiritual practices. Here's a good one. All the traditions relate the teachings of the sages by means of myths related to particular gods or goddesses. It is understood that all of these Neturu are related like brothers and sisters, having all emanated from the same source, the same supremely divine parent, who is neither male nor female, but encompasses the totality of the two. Okay. So, here's another great page here. Shatao Netra, the path of awakening. That's why when I greet people, I say good rising, great awakenings. Or if somebody says to me, good morning, I say great awakening. Or if someone says grand rising, I say great awakening. And they say, why do you say good rising if it's 7 o'clock at night? Because we're always rising in consciousness. And some people say grand rising, which is great, but it's not always gonna be grand. Sometimes good is good enough, because good is the divine. You know, but grand, great is wonderful. But I'm happy with good. But the great awakening. This is the very next page. I'll just read the next page. Shatao Netra, the path of awakening. What is the great awakening? That takes us to another excellent term. Oops. This is the goal of life. Yes. The great awakening. That's when you wake up to the illusion of this construct that we're living in, this matrix, this crazy, absurd level of existence. When you wake up, like Aset, when I was talking about Aset, when she was tired of being a human. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, hold on a second. Oh gosh. Like it's moving. Okay, got it. Phew, that was close. My finger was moving. I couldn't get it. Okay, and I lost my train of thought. So let me see. Oh, the Great Awakening, the story of Aset. When she was tired of being a human, she knew there was more to life. So she said, Ra, I need to know your name. I need to know your essence. And she transformed herself into a goddess. So that is the Great Awakening, when you wake up to the illusion of life and death. When you wake up to the illusion of time and space. When you wake up to the illusion of black and white. When you wake up to the illusion of the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry and the judicial industry and the entertainment industry and the religious industry and the agricultural industry, when you wake up to these illusions, that's part of your Great Awakening too. When you stop believing what they're telling us, that's part of your Great Awakening. So when I say good rising, Great Awakening, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. It's I'm wishing you a higher consciousness. I'm wishing that you wake up today. That's when I say Great Awakening. Okay, but let's see what Dr. Ashby says, because he's one of my favorites. Actually, he is my favorite of all the teachers that I've had. But there comes a time when you have to graduate. You can't stay in kindergarten forever and color. Eventually you have to learn your times tables, and then you have to learn your geography, and then you have to learn, these subjects, and then you have to go on to college, and then you go to grad school, and then you become a teacher. So at some point, you move on from your teacher, but he's always my teacher. Right, same here. I say same here. That's another reason why I left my school. Oh, this is Coffee Bean. Is because their perception is that forget about the rest of the world. Don't care about the politics. Just focus on your enlightenment and not having to come back. And I'm like, that's cool, but I'm gonna keep trying to help people. I'm set on my path. I know I'm working towards my enlightenment and not coming back and everything. But I've got to clean up my REU some more. Maybe you don't need to clean up your REU anymore, but I've got to clean up some more of my REU. I've got to get rid of some of this trauma. I'm going to continue to help and educate people. That's right. Exactly, Coffee Bean. Become the best version of you. Yes. And this tradition is called your royal personality. Your royal personality is on the road to enlightenment, and nothing is stopping you. And that is what Haru symbolizes. Haru symbolizes our royal personality. Haru is able to choose between, because we all have to choose between following Set or following Haru, following our ego or following our royal personality. Ashe, that's right. All right, so what is the Great Awakening? Nahast, it's the term I just wrote down there, means to wake up, to awaken to the higher existence. Oh, and it even has the hieroglyph there for Great Awakening. It's got the eye. There we go. What is the purpose of Natarianism? What is the purpose of all the disciplines of Natarian spirituality? The end of all Natarian disciplines is to discover the meaning of who am I, to unravel the mysteries of life, and to fathom the depths of eternity and infinity. This is the task of all human beings, and it is to be accomplished in this lifetime. This can be done by learning the ways of the Netaru, which is what we do on Thursdays. But I will call it Divine Thursday. I won't say Natarian Thursday because people don't know what Natarian is. Emulating them and finally becoming like them. Akus. That's another good word. Aku. If you're familiar with my platform, oh, I love you too. Dare. Okay. Aku, if you're familiar with my platform, Light Being Wellness, Aku is light being. And wellness is Seneb. So when I start teaching my version of this yoga system, it's Aku Seneb. But anyway, finally becoming, This can be done by learning the ways of the Neteru, emulating them, and finally becoming like them, the Akus, enlightened beings, walking the earth as giants and accomplishing great deeds such as the creation of the universe. Ta-da! We're creating each one of us is creating our universe. Oh, the Ankh is a diploma. It's a key to life. That's certainly true. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm getting so excited with all the hearts and the comments. Thank you so much. Okay. Creation of the universe. Well, I think earlier we were talking about creating with the cosmic forces of nature, learning to create with these energies, learning to create with the gods and goddesses. Yes, it's beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna read one more paragraph. The Kemetic word nihast means attaining the sublime and highest goal of life, which is spiritual enlightenment, to experience the state of conscious awareness of oneness with the divine and all creation, which transcends individuality born of ego consciousness. Like the river uniting with the ocean, discovering the greater essential nature of self, that state which bestows abiding blessedness, peace, bliss, contentment, fulfillment, freedom from all limitation, and supreme empowerment. How is the highest goal of Chatal Neter to be realized in life? Well, we'll just save that for another time. That'll be fun. I could just read through this little book a little bit every day. Oh, this is what I was looking for here. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll save this for the next time. What is Sima Tawi? Okay, so let me mark that down. As I was stating before, it's really important to have an actual physical teacher. It's one thing to buy their books and watch their videos and attend their online conferences. You know, that's one thing. That's one level of a teacher. However, to actually go and sit in their presence and be able to call them on the phone and say, hey, I'm having trouble with in your book. I have a question about paragraph, or I'm having this obstacle in life, you know, having a teacher like that you actually know face to face, one-on-one, that when you call, they know who you are. That is crucial. You've got to have what's called a mentor in life, or like in this case, a spiritual preceptor who takes the wisdom teachings of ancient Kemet or the tradition that you're following and breaks it down for you in such a way that you understand it, and it awakens something within you. When you read it, you know it's the truth, or at least it's true for you. It may not be true for everyone, but you resonate with the truth. And so my favorite teacher so far in life has been Dr. Wada Ashby. He's written several books. It might be 160 books. I don't know. I can't remember. And sometimes people complain about his books because the first chapter is always the same. Any book that you buy from him, the first chapter, he's going to break it all down, because he doesn't know which book you started with. If you buy a book on Asar and Aset, but you don't know anything about the history of Kemet, or you don't know the comparisons to the other religious traditions, then you'll be lost. So he always includes this first chapter in his books, and it's the same in every book. So don't let that keep you from getting more of his books. He did that for a reason. And he also has this wonderful version of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Pert in Haru. The Egyptologists call it the Book of the Dead, but it's actually the Book of Coming Forth by Day. And remember earlier I was talking about we need to be preparing for our moment of death. One of the things to do is to go through the Purdah Maru, your book by Dr. Ashby. This is the best one in my opinion. And select the passages that you want to be read at your death. Like while you're dying, when you die, after you die, and if you choose to have a memorial. You want your relatives to know how you want your process to go. Because some people say it's a book of spells. And I suppose it is. It is a book of spells. It's a book with, let me see if I can find a short one. You could say it's spells, but it's not just for when we die. Because in this life, we are dead, dead to the spirit, to the eternal. And so this is our book to help us wake up while we're still alive. So let me see if I can find a good one. One of my goals as an artist, a chantress, a singing priestess, is to write songs for each one of these spells. I have a few. I have a long way to go. I'm trying to find a really good one to give you. Okay, there's a good one. Oh, first of all, anytime you're going to read from the Purdah Maru, there's certain prayers that need to be offered. And when I'm going live, when I'm doing concerts, I'm just trying to save time. So I'm trying to save time. So I've come up with a chant that encompasses what the other two are. And then when I have more time, then I offer the other ones. But this is Asmatashi Temple of Divine Light, Healing, and Sweet Sounds. And so I'm just going to go ahead and offer it before I read from the Purdah Maru. And it's just Om, Nebuchadnezzar, Kepra, Asar, Om. And when we get into the yoga postures, I can't do everything in one session. So anyway, Om, Nebuchadnezzar, Kepra, Asar, Om. 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 So Nebuchadnezzar is the encompassing divinity, all-encompassing, all-embracing spirit who thought and created Kepra, who is the one who created all the gods or goddesses. So first Nebuchadnezzar came forth as Kepra, and then later Nebuchadnezzar came forth as Asar, the universal soul. So even though Nebuchadnezzar is in all of us, Nebuchadnezzar specifically came forward as Kepra so that everything could be created, and then came forth as Asar, the soul of everything. So like Jehuti is the cosmic mind of everything, they all have things, but these two in particular are very important. And that's why we have that special chant. So now I'm going to read chapter 24. It's got the beautiful little illustration. Making the transformation into a lotus. Now when we do the Akusanev reflective movement meditation yoga posture system, we will be reading from the Purdah Maru because the chants, we're transforming ourselves into gods and goddesses. So transforming oneself into a lotus is very important because the lotus is the symbol of enlightenment. And anytime you're reading from the Purdah Maru, it'll say, these words are spoken by Asar, and then there'll be a line. You fill in your name, you fill in a blank, like right here. They all start like that. These words are spoken by Asar because Asar is the universal soul. This is about the journey of the soul after life or after death. Depends on how you look at it. So I'm going to say my name. My Kemetic name is Arit. Arit Netter S. Mary Maati. Arit means offerings. It means actions. It also means chakra. It's about movement, energy. And I was given this name by Mom. Arit Netter S. So his translation is she who makes musical offerings to her tutelary divinity. She who makes offerings to tutelary is like your main god or goddess that you focus on. Mine is Aset and Ma'at. The name of the temple is Asmataji. Why is it Asmataji? Because the first gods and goddesses that I had an actual experience with was Mataji, who's the counterpart of Babaji from the Tamil Vedic Hindu tradition. So my temple is Asmataji. Is that right here? So you ever see me posting about that? Asmataji temple. Anyway, I read letter S. Mary Ma'ati. This is my Kemetic name. Mary is beloved. Ma'ati is close to Ma'at, right? But it's the dual goddesses of Ma'at, which is Aset and Nebuchadnezzar. She who makes offerings to a tutelary divinity, musical offerings, beloved by the dual goddesses of Ma'at. Okay? So that's who I am. So when I say the words are said by, I'm going to say Asar Arit, but then you just put in your name. Okay? These words are said by Asar Arit. I am the lotus, pure, coming forth out into the day. I am the guardian of the nostril of Ra and the keeper of the nose of Hetaru. I make, I come, and I seek after he that is Heru. I am pure going out from the field. So they're spells because you can use them for manifesting yourself, transforming yourself into your higher self. So yes, it's a spell. Some people would just say, oh, that's just an affirmation. Affirmations are spells. The English language is a language of spells. So yes, this is a book of spells. Okay, so then let's just read his translation. I love reading his glossaries, his gloss. The lotus is the Kemetic symbol for the number 1000. It also a symbol of detachment and the aroma of divinity. In mystical philosophy, the number 1000 symbolizes manifold, and in Indian yoga, it is used as the symbol for the psycho-spiritual energy center, Arit. I was talking about, that's the word for chakra, or Aritus is the 7 chakras, at the crown of the head, which contains 1000 subtle petals, meaning transcendental experience. The lotus grows in a pond of murky water, and yet it is untouched by the water. So too, the aspirant must remain in the world of illusion and yet be untouched by that illusion. Instead, it turns towards the sun during the day and closes up at night, turning away from the darkness. This is accomplished by daily application of a special ointment on the personality, just as the lotus applies oils on itself to remain untouched by the murky waters of the pond. These oils used by aspirants are the fruits of practicing the spiritual disciplines, which we're going to talk about next Thursday. The treatment that the aspirant undergoes is increasing detachment from the world and increasing attachment to the divine self, which we talked about earlier today with the journey of Aset. She transformed herself from a human into a goddess. Therefore, the more detachment one develops, the more insulated one becomes from the world, and the more one is able to become attached to the divine self through one's spiritual disciplines. Uja, Ubin Nefer, thank you for tuning in. When there is supreme detachment in the personality, there is also power. The goddess Hetaru symbolizes the unfoldment of this power in abundance, the power of Sekem, the life force. The Sekem is Kundalini. Let me write that down. Let's see. Just dropping in. Welcome to the Tyranny Thursday. called Devotional Thursdays because nobody knows what inherent is. Okay, what was I? Oh, second. Now you might recognize this word. Oh, here. Kundalini. I don't think you can see this. Yeah, you can't see that. You gotta remember to start down here. Oh, okay. Second. Life force, which is also the Kundalini in the Hindu tradition. But you might recognize that name from Sekhmet. Sekhmet. She's the goddess of the life force energy. And Heteru is the power of the life force energy. Uja, Uben Nefer. Okay. Second, the life force that sustains life through the breath. We talked about the breath earlier, not food. She is ever at the side of Heru, as in the Asarian resurrection myth. And so too it is with the spiritual aspirant who has now assumed the role of Heru. And so I was talking about being the hero in the myth of your life, the hero of your own myth. Only those who possess such power over the world, the field of time and space, are capable of going out from it and coming back to it as they please. That means you can reincarnate if you want to, like we're talking about, I think it was Coffee Bean saying that some of us chose to come here to help others. We've already attained a certain level of enlightenment and now we're just here to help others, which is a wonderful thing to do. The fragrance of the lotus is heavenly, containing medicinal purposes and spiritual significance. Thus, the smelling of lotus is symbolic of purity, detachment, and the spirit. Hatep, dua seba ma, dua seba ja. All right, so that was fun. It's been fun. Let's see. We did music, we talked spirituality, yoga. Let's see, what time do we have here? Okay, got about 5 minutes. Okay, all right. So, let's see. Just gonna do a little yoga pose, just trying to decide which one am I gonna do. Okay. Well, if you're still with me, you've got some room, you're not driving your car, or you're not in your kitchen fixing dinner, or breakfast, excuse me. I'm gonna do a little yoga posture. And like I said, this isn't yoga, it's about the movements. This is the movements of the gods and goddesses, Aku Sanem. And if you've been following my journey with this property that I inherited, it's going to be transformed into a wellness center. So I have the temple space, the studio downstairs that I've been renovating, and I usually broadcast from there, but today I'm upstairs. And this room is usually for people who are like making movies. This is Ellis Avenue Studios, making a movie, or you have a special event. And I'm also gonna be using this space to teach the yoga class, because my space downstairs, since I have furniture and altars in every corner, is less actual physical space. I can only fit maybe 2 students. But in this room, there's plenty of space. So, in these sessions, we're gonna close out with a posture or meditation or chanting, or who knows. But I feel like doing a posture today. I have my house shoes, but that's okay. If I take off my shoes. So like I was saying, when we have the official temple offerings, there won't be any talking like I've been doing here. It'll just be the offering, the music, the activity. It won't be like trying to explain everything. And hopefully I'll be explaining everything during these live streams. So I've decided to do the pose for Aset, the throne of Aset. So if you can just, just put your arms up. Inhale, relax, down, posture. This way. Nuk Aset, I am Aset. I am the divine throne upon which rests my soul. I am the abode of the enlightened spirit. Nuk Aset. I am the seat of royalty and wisdom. And we're going to go down a little further this time. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, go down. Nuk Aset, I am Aset. I command all that I survey. I am strong, royal, noble, wise, and powerful. Nuk Aset. Now we're going to go all the way down. Raise your inhale, exhale. All the way. Nuk Aset, I am Aset. I remain seated on my inner throne, and I shall not be moved. All right, so that's an example of the Akusaneb. We have affirmations that we recite while we're doing the postures. Sometimes we're singing them. Yep, so it's really a wonderful system because you're not just doing the postures, but you're actually recreating the movements of creation. You're using the cosmic forces to create your enlightened lifestyle, your connection with the divinities within you. Okay. All right, so I want to thank those of you who were able to tune in to this Grid Rising TV, Natarian Thursdays, soon to be renamed Devotion Thursdays, because people don't know what Natarians are yet. That's why we're here, to learn what they are. And I'm really glad that I've started doing this again. The next session will be Tuesday. We have Tamarican Tuesdays, Wellness Wednesdays, maybe Natarian Devotion Thursdays. I'm going to have to figure out a good name for that. From 8 until 9:30 a.m. Central Time. I appreciate those of you who are able to tap the screen. And I see I've got a couple of daily hearts up there. Anytime you're on someone's live stream, if you tap that heart, they get an actual penny, which I just learned recently from Mama T. If you're looking for help with your live streams, check out Mama T. So I'll be back on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 9:30 a.m. And then when there's a special event like the full moon, or Jupiter is in the sacred hoop, or it's the middle of fall, Spiral Dance Medicine Wheel, I'll be going live at various times. Those aren't set in stone. Those flow. And so these sessions are just talking or education, and then the other sessions are the actual spiritual offerings. We're going to have a live stream tonight for the full moon sound bath or sound shower with Zen Frankie. We have been going out to the lake. However, I think the time for the lake events is taking a pause until the weather gets more consistent. Because like we could say, yes, it's sunny and bright today, and then we'll get out there tonight and it'll be pouring rain. So we're going to be switching to indoor. I don't know the exact time. It'll probably be after midnight, just based on our schedules. So it'll be really nice. Zen Frankie is a great healer himself and a great person to do these sound baths with. So we're really excited to have a partner in doing those. So tonight will be a Cosmic Chimes and Chanting session for the full moon in Sidereal Pisces. Then on November 1st, there'll be the Spiral Dance Medicine Wheel for the middle of fall. And I have yet to plan the next Cosmic Devotion session. I'm going to have to check the calendar. It looks like Jupiter is going to be moving into the Sacred Hoop in a few days. The Sacred Hoop is a collection of constellations that I learned about from the Lakota. It includes the Gemini, or the basketball court, the great dog, or Anpu, and Sirius, the eye of the great dog, Aset, and Orion, and Orion's belt, and that is Asar. So Gemini is Jehuti, so it's it's Jehuti, Asar, and Aset. And anytime a planet moves into the sacred hoop, that's when I offer the cosmic adorations. I was just trying to find the right schedule that makes sense to me, because I'm all about Sirius. And I was following the Egyptian spiritual calendar, but there's so many versions of that, I just walked away from that. And then I was following the, I don't know if y'all know about this calendar put out by the Earth Center. I follow this calendar, the Kemetic Sidereal calendar, and it follows Sirius. It's going to open up here in a second. Yeah. And it has the 10-day weeks, 2 holy days, 2 days of rest per week, 2 holy days per week. And then the 13th month is 5 days, and that happens in September. We had that last month. And so I've been following this calendar for I guess it's going on 2 years now. I would always buy the calendar, but I didn't follow it. Now I'm following this calendar more than the Western calendar. And that's why I stopped going live, because I was going live according to this calendar. But since nobody else was following the calendar, it just wasn't working. So now I'm doing what most ancient temples did. They had a spiritual calendar, which for me was going to be this one, or a celestial or a Sirius calendar. And then they had the secular calendar, which is this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday live streaming. Because I don't really like doing things every Wednesday or every Thursday, because that puts me in the Western matrix. It was like, and it's too soon. Every 7 days it's just like, But when I follow the 10-day calendar, I feel like I have more time. I usually talk about this on Tuesdays, but I will close with this. I found out this calendar from Master Naba, who was a Dogon priest who set up a virtual temple, and as well as temples all over the world. And in his teachings, he says that they steal time from you every night, 6 hours, every night of your life. The matrix steals 6 hours from you. How do they do that? Because midnight, 12 midnight, is supposed to be the middle of night, right? It's the middle between the sunset and the sunrise. But in the Western construct, 12:01 is considered the morning. You're at the club, like, oh, I'm jamming, I'm having a good time. It's 11, it's 11:59, it's 12. Like, oh no, it's 12 o'clock. I gotta go home. It's the morning. I have to get up at 6 in the morning. I have to go home. And I'm like, it's not the morning. It's the middle of the night. The morning, the new day begins at sunrise. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the love. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Champagne and crayons. Ooh, that sounds fun. Is that like sipping paint, sipping color? So yeah, so they steal 6 hours from us every night. Every night. Because at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get up. No, it's 1 hour after midnight. So when you see me put 1 a.m., that means 1 hour after midnight. You see me put 5 a.m., that's 5 hours after midnight. 8 a.m., 8 hours after midnight. It doesn't mean 8 hours of daylight. 8 a.m. is 2 hours of daylight. So that's how they put this mind game on us. And then 12 p.m. is post-meridian, right? It's after the sun reaches the meridian, the highest point in the sky. So the p.m. part makes sense. 1 p.m. is 1 hour after the highest point in the sky. It's still the day. They don't turn that into the night. See, if 12 midnight is the beginning of the day, then 12 in the afternoon should be the beginning of the night. But it's not. It's the middle of the day. So, like I say, I follow Master Naba's calendar. I'm not a member of the Earth Center. The Earth Center is very patriarchal. and it disrespects women, in my opinion. I love following this calendar. Somebody that was in the group says they don't pay attention to the app and it may not be accurate. Well, it's working for me. As long as you restart at September, the new year starts on September 10th. As long as you start it then, it's good for me. This is a really interesting calendar. It says it's the year 424, but it's 424 out of a cycle of 1600. And then they keep track of how many 1600s. It's only year 424 of the current 1600 year cycle. This calendar is so ancient. This is a very ancient calendar. Doesn't mean it's only 424 years. Okay. Oh, and then I have one more shout out. I know I've been talking a long time. Yes, exactly. That's when the new day begins, with the sunrise. It doesn't begin at midnight, 1 minute after midnight. That's not when it begins. Same thing as they start the new year in the West and at the beginning of winter. That's not when the new year begins. Anyway, I wanted to share another one of my favorite. This was my first spiritual teacher book series. I had a teacher that introduced me to the books, and he was my teacher for many years, Vasil Abed. But this guy, Professor Hilton Hotema, he first published in 1963. He was an American, aka white man, who remembered that in his past lifetime he'd been a Kemetic priest. So he wrote all of these fabulous books. This one is The Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters. And when I was first studying him back in 1984, after I dropped out of grad school, I was a grad student in astronomy at UT Austin until I was assaulted by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I dropped out because I didn't know about Mickeys. I didn't really know. So I just dropped that bomb on you. But anyway, I had never heard of cosmic science or ancient masters. And so I started reading these books. And these are the series of books that first changed my life, changed my mindset. And then I found the Kemetic teachings. And ironically, my first teacher, Vasil Abed, who had been raised as a Black Hebrew Israelite, he was being raised to become a rabbi in New York. His father was from Ethiopia? And he lived in Cuba, or was from Cuba and lived in Ethiopia. I don't know, but his father was a rabbi who moved to Harlem, established the Tree of Life. You may have heard of this. This huge Black Hebrew Israelite community in Harlem, a synagogue. They fasted, they kept the Sabbath, they did the high holy days. This is who raised me, and this is what I did with my children. My daughter was on here earlier. We kept the Sabbath, we kept the high holy days, we did the whole thing. I'm getting ready to end, so I'm not going to accept you right now, but maybe next time. But anyway, he was about to have I think he had just had his bar mitzvah. And jealous, angry, J people stoned his father to death in the streets because they were jealous. I guess I can say they were Jewish. White Jews, Israel, Zionists, I don't know, in Harlem or near Harlem. And they were jealous of the success of this Black Hebrew Israelite synagogue and community. But anyway, he's the one that introduced me to these books. And this was my first series of books and my first teacher. And then I found, what I was saying was, he was against the Egyptian studies and Kemetic studies because he was raised Hebrew, and as far as he was concerned, the Egyptians enslaved the Hebrews. And I kept saying, but. And then finally I had to just walk away because I knew I had a connection to Kemet. And then after I became a Kemetic priestess, then he really got into Kemet as well. And that's a journey we all go through. I started my journey as Rastafarian. I had a reggae band. I still love to play reggae, I just don't have any gigs. Then I got into the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. Then I got into Japanese Buddhism with Soka Gakkai, SGI. course, I got into the medicine wheel, you know, becoming a medicine woman from Tamarica, Turtle Island. Then I got into the pyramid cultures of the Olmec. I got into the Olmec calendar, the Mayan calendar, and I studied yoga from the East. I was studying with the tradition of Babaji and Mataji, who I talked about earlier. And then finally, I ended up in Kemet. Finally, I even studied a little bit with the Yoruba traditions. So I studied a lot of different world spiritual traditions, indigenous, original people traditions. I'm not into the knockoffs. I'm not into Satanism. I'm not into pedophilia. I'm not into enslaving others. I'm not into any of the traditions of the three major world religions of Western imperialism. But I finally got into Kemet, and I studied there for 12 years, 13 years. And then when I was leaving Kemet the last time I was there when COVID began, my ancestors said, okay, now it's time to get back to the Olmec traditions and the other indigenous original traditions and see how they connect with Kemet, because I feel that all the cultures that have pyramids and study Sirius, like the ones in Central and South America, the ones to the East, there's a reason. And I'm determined to explore that reason with the rest of my life here on Earth. Okay, well, thank you so much for tuning in for Good Rising TV, Natarian Thursdays. I may change the name to Devotional Thursdays. I kind of like Natarian Thursdays, but we'll see. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Possibly next week, I will be able to be going live on Instagram and YouTube as well. But until then, I'll be here on TikTok Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Please remember to tap the screen when you go on someone's live. Please remember to tap the heart of the day when you attend someone's live. Also, they have this little campaign here for the Days of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. When you're on someone's live, do them a favor and send them an ancestral boost. Okay, and we'll be here tonight for the full moon sound bath with Zen Frankie, probably around midnight p.m. Oh, around midnight, maybe 1 hour after midnight, which is called 1 a.m. All right, Dua Hatep. Thank you so much for all the love and the likes and for participating and staying to the end. Dua Hatep.